Chapter 1509. Then, he came to a sudden realization. Yes, Jun had said more than once that the polar domain's future little master was Miss Jun's son. The talented 5-year-old boy with the immortal spirit body. Elder Chong had never seen Miss Jun's son before. In his heart, he felt somewhat uncomfortable that someone who did not have the bloodline of the Mahis clan would inherit the polar domain. However, considering the sovereign monarch's current cultivation, it was nearly impossible for him to leave behind a descendant. As for those Tom, Dick, and Harry from the side branch of the Mo family, what were they? Rather than letting them inherit the polar domain, it would be better to let the son of the Emperor's beloved do it. What's more, Elder Chong has been with Ing Mei and Han Yi for many years. How loyal they are. He also knew the pride hidden in their hearts. Since even they were willing to recognize that little boy as the future lord of the polar domain, it proved that Miss Jun's son was indeed outstanding. Elder Chong was about to ask little Gongzi what was wrong. Deming? His blue eyes flashed slightly, and the divine power in his body suddenly surged. Then his finger quickly drew a complicated pattern in the air. As every line on the totem lit up, the divine power was compressed and absorbed at a rapid speed. Elder Chong could imagine how terrifying the power would be when this divine power was unleashed from the other end. However, at that moment, Elder Chong had completely forgotten about that. His eyes were filled with shock, and his words were trembling. Jun Shang, how could you use the blood knot totem? It can only be used between relatives who are related by blood. If two people who are not related by blood were to use the blood knot totem on each other, the success rate was only 1 in 1,000. Furthermore, if there was the slightest bit of carelessness, both parties would suffer a backlash. Deming? He smiled coldly. There was a hint of anxiety in his smile, but there was even more arrogance in it. If I say Xiao Bao is my son, then he is my son from the first time they met. Deming? She felt an indescribable pity and heartache for him. Even though the two of them were often at odds with each other, he did not want to admit how much his heart beat when the little fellow called him daddy. A kind of joy and satisfaction that he had never felt before welled up in his heart. So, Deming? He wanted to protect Xiao Bao and make him the future master of the polar domain. It's not just because of Mayan. From the moment the little guy started to call him daddy, Deming's attitude towards Deming had changed. To him, Xiao Bao was his son. A huge amount of divine power flowed into the blood knot totem. Elder Chong watched nervously from the side. The spiritual energy in his body was stirring, fearing that an accident would happen and he wouldn't be able to save him in time. Even defeating armies, who had always been cold and indifferent, had a hint of solemnity on his face. He looked at Di Ming with concern. Every move of yours. The backlash of the blood knot totem was not a joke. Even Jun Shang might be seriously injured. However, time passed slowly. Di Ming? As more and more divine power entered the blood knot totem, the pattern in the air became brighter and brighter. However, there was no backlash at all when his divine power overflowed. Even Elder Chong was stunned. No backlash. He actually succeeded. Damn, what kind of luck does Jun Shang have? Chapter 1510. But Jun Shang actually succeeded. No, he should ask, what kind of divine being is Miss Jun's child, that he can actually withstand Jun Shang's divine power through the blood knot totem? Elder Chong is amazed. Di Mingju only frowns. His face is frighteningly gloomy. His divine power belongs to the offensive category. Just now, through the blood knot totem, he really did guide his divine power to Xiao Bao. It directly swallowed and destroyed that broken thing that dared to attack Xiao Bao. However, Di Mingju's heart is still unable to calm down. He always feels flustered and fearful, as if something important is leaving him. Xiao Bao, Di Mingju impressively gets up. Elder Chong, you handle the following matters. Jun Shangyu, Ben Jun wants to return to the Xiojin continent. If something really happened to Xiao Bao, how sad and painful would Mayan be? If something really happened to Xiao Bao, he really wishes that he could overturn and destroy the entire Xiojin continent. Elder Chong originally wanted to speak again, but he is startled by Di Ming-ju's bone-chilling eyes. He can't even say half a word. The current Jun Shang is really frightening. For Jun Shang, that child isn't just love the house and its crow. Is it really that important? At this moment, defeating armies who has been silent all this time, suddenly opens his mouth. Jun Shang, look at the totem. Elder Chang and Di Ming-ju both turn to look. They see that the blood-knot totem, which had just dimmed, suddenly emits a faint white light. That white light intertwines and fuses with Di Ming-ju's ice-blue divine power. It's as if a gorgeous halo has been painted around each rune. Magnificent and magnificent. Elder Chang gasps, his eyes almost bulging out of his head in shock. This is the rotation of holy sound, the second form of the Shun musician skill, Saint's Benevolence. Heavens, this is something only a 5th-level Shun musician can do. Jun Shang, is it Miss June? She has already mastered the 5th-level Shun musician skill. Elder Chang is one of the few people in the Xiaoxing continent who has seen the Shun musicians in their heyday, so he knows what a 5th-level Shun musician skill means. The most frightening thing was that Miss June's current cultivation level was only at the Immediate stage. A low-level fasting stage cultivator can actually master the skills of a 5th-level Shun musician. Heavens! What kind of monster is this Miss June? This talent is even more frightening than Bailey Luin, the founder of the Shun musicians. Di Ming-ju looks at the blood, not totem wrapped in a halo of light, and presses a hand on his chest. Feeling his pounding heart, a gentle smile appeared in his eyes. Xiaobao was fine. He could sense that little treasure's life force was recovering bit by bit. It was Mu Yin. Mu Yin saved Xiaobao. It should be said that the two of them saved Xiaobao together. Soon after, Di Ming-ju can't help but be as shocked as Elder Chang. He didn't expect that Yin Yan's strength had already grown to such an extent. He still remembers that when he first met Yin Yan, she was just an ordinary mortal without even a trace of spiritual power. But in just a short year or two, Yin Yan's progress is really unbelievably fast. Di Ming-ju believes that very soon, Yin Yan will be able to stand side by side with him. From then on, their family would never be separated again. However, the next moment... Chapter 15:11. Big Brother, is Big Brother all right? Quick look. Boss's flesh and blood have all grown back. The monsters are gone. They're all dead. The few little fellows surrounded Little Bao and chattered incessantly, and they were both nervous and excited. Jian, who can talk, say something. What happened to Big Brother? Bai Xie took a deep breath and finally found his voice. Damn, he really came back to life. This is no longer a miracle. This is a miracle. Is there really such a thing as bringing the dead back to life? Wait a minute. Even if there is no doctor here. How on earth was Little Master saved? And how did the divine power descend just now? Even the red-eyed demon crystal was turned into ashes in seconds. Damn. How powerful is the owner of this divine power? I'm really a lucky bastard. I casually recognized a master, and he's actually such a powerful existence. Wahaha. I am rich now. I will be able to eat and drink, pick up girls, power and wealth. It will all be mine. Bai Xie, alone, oh no, a sword, was talking non-stop. He was so excited that he had gone crazy. The little fellows looked at it and shook their heads in unison. Is Jian crazy? But Jian said that Big Brother is fine. Nailin Yin held his face. His eyes were still red and swollen like walnuts, but his face was full of smiles. Bai Xie suddenly came back to his senses. He shouted angrily, "You are the lowly ones. Your whole family is lowly. My name is Bai Xie from Bai Xie Sword. It's an ancient divine sword, understand?" The little fellows nodded in unison, still in a daze. "Then we will call you Bai Xie who can talk. It sounds better than Jian. Bang! Bai Xie's sword slammed onto a rock. Damn it, I don't want to live anymore. That's why I hate little brats the most. Roar! Suddenly, the fat rabbit let out a loud roar. It was filled with shock and fear. Bai Xie and the little ones came back to their senses. They looked at Xiaobao nervously. They knew The only thing that could make the fat rabbit so nervous was Xiaobao. With one look, Bai Xie was dumbfounded. The few little fellows blinked their eyes, somewhat unable to react to what had happened. Xiaobao's badly mutilated body had basically healed completely. The scarlet-eyed demonic crystal in his arms was originally surrounded by a thick black aura. At this time, the black gas had almost dissipated. Just as Bai Xie was thinking, he was going to wait for the red-eyed demonic crystal to disappear completely. He was going to rush over and take the red-eyed demonic crystal from his little master's arms. This way, they would be able to escape. However, at this very moment, at the moment when the baleful yin-chi around the scarlet-eyed demon crystal had almost completely disappeared, a faint blue vortex appeared in Xiaobao's dantian. This vortex had also appeared when Xiaobao was confronting the scarlet-eyed demonic crystal. However, because Xiaobao's aura was too weak at that time, he only appeared for a short while before he was engulfed by the yin energy of the scarlet-eyed demonic crystal. That was why Bai Xie and the others didn't notice it. But now, the blue vortex had become extremely obvious, and it was spinning at a very fast speed. The scarlet-eyed demonic crystal began to tremble violently, as if it was trying to break free from its grip. Chapter 15:12. What's wrong? What's going on? Little Rascal asked. The fat rabbit anxiously hugged its front paws together, then separated them again as it dug at the ground with all its might, squeaking nonstop. The Bai Xie sword shook. Little Master, well, what are you doing? Could it be? Before Bai Xie could finish, the ground beneath his feet started to tremble violently. Ka. Ripples started to appear in the void. Cracks started to spread across the sky like a spider web. The sound of something shattering could be heard. Careful! Bai Xie waved his sword and was about to rush over to pick up the little guys. The pit is going to collapse. However, before it finished speaking, a light blue halo enveloped the few little fellows, the Bishia sword, and the fat rabbit. They slowly rose into the air. Almost at the same time, a rumbling sound came from the sinkhole. The entire altar, the 7 pure springs, and the sinkhole filled with severed limbs were all crushed by the falling boulders. The pit disappeared, the Fushi Grand Array was broken, and the snow-red lotus appeared in front of Bai Xie and the others. But the trembling did not stop. The shocking scene caused by Xiaobao did not stop either. The blue whirlpool in Xiaobao's dantian did not disappear. Instead, it was spinning faster and faster. Then, Bai Xie looked at the snow-red lotus in shock, as if they were all uprooted by a huge force. They turned into red energy spots in the void and flew towards Xiaobao's dantian. Bai Xie cursed, his voice was shaking. He is devouring the Fushi Grand Array. No, not the Fushi Grand Array. Damn it, he is trying to devour the entire Fushi secret realm. What happened next was to prove Bai Xie's conjecture. All the living beings in the Fushi secret realm, be it the demonic plants or the ferocious beasts, they were all coiled up by a blue thread, curling up and hanging in the air. Before they could even struggle, the demonic plants and ferocious beasts all turned into colorful energy spots and surged toward Xiaobao. All the living beings in the Fushi secret realm were disappearing bit by bit. They turned into pure energy and were absorbed into Xiaobao's dantian. The Fushi secret realm was collapsing at a speed visible to the naked eye. The only ones that were unharmed were Bai Xie, the fat rabbit, and the little guy. Oh, the fat rabbit was both excited and worried. Its claws kept scratching around the blue circle of light. At first, the little fellows were shocked and uneasy. When they saw this scene, they could only exclaim in surprise. Boss is so amazing. He actually ate so many monsters. Can a black, smelly monster be eaten? Little Big Brother eats too much. Won't he be bloated? Of course, ordinary people can't eat it. But who is our boss? These monsters are just enough to fill the gaps between my teeth. Bai Xie turned his sword around and laughed. Did this group of foolish humans understand what this scene before them signified? An ordinary human. Humans. It actually devoured a Fushi secret realm that could trap the Bai Xie sword. Was this something a human could do? Also, did Little Master eat too much? Would his ordinary human body be able to withstand it? Chapter 15:13. Finally, the entire Fushi Secret Realm's heaven and earth essence was completely absorbed by Xiao Bao. The entire secret realm turned into powder and completely collapsed. In the northernmost region of Danyang Mountain Range, a huge crater appeared. Half of Danyang Mountain Range shook violently. Birds, beasts, and insects fled in all directions, as if in fear, but also as if extremely excited. Large pieces of rubble were about to drown Xiao Bao. The evil warding sword hurriedly rushed out of the circle of light to save its little master. But the fat rabbit's movements were faster than it. In almost a blink of an eye, it rushed out of the blue circle of light and pounced on a Xiao Bao. Using its mouth to hold him in its mouth, it directly jumped out of the pile of rubble. The blue circle of light slowly disappeared. The few little fellows ran to Xiao Bao's side, looked at the unharmed, exquisite, and beautiful little boy, then looked at the huge, bottomless crater in front of them, and simultaneously shuddered. Those monsters, those terrifying black Shi, and the little boy on the verge of death. They thought they were dead for sure. Never did they expect that in the end, they all survived. The one who saved them was this immature child in front of them, a child younger than them. No, no, no. No matter who this little boy was or where he came from now on, this little boy was their boss. I wonder what boss's name is? We want to follow boss. Will boss despise us for being too useless? Why hasn't Big Brother woken up yet? Yin Yin, don't be rude. Call him boss. If not for boss saving us, we would never be able to see father and mother again. Nailin Yin nodded innocently. And in, why hasn't boss woken up yet? Lu Hongyuan frowned. Don't you guys feel that something is wrong? What's wrong? Lu Hongyuan raised his head. The sky turned dark. It darkened so quickly. The few little fellows immediately raised their heads, only to discover to their surprise. When they flew out of Fushi's secret realm, it was still daytime. The sun hung high in the blue sky. But at this moment, the sun was long gone. Replacing it was a dense layer of clouds. These clouds, some were pitch black, some were rainbow-colored, and there were also those ice-blue clouds like the sea. Without them noticing, these clouds gathered more and more, finally enveloping more than half of Danyang Mountain Range. Brother Jinjian, Grandpa's son, has disappeared. So many clouds, it's pitch black. Yin Yin is scared. Brother Jinjian, what's going on? Bai Xie swung its sword and did not answer them. Instead, it made a gulping sound. So, he devoured the entire Fushi secret realm just to advance. But fuck, what kind of advancement would require so much energy? Even if you want to advance to the nascent soul stage, you don't need the energy of a secret realm. The little fellows looked at each other. Boss wants to advance? What does that mean? It means to become stronger. Boss is already so powerful. You have to become even more powerful. The little fellows were all talking at once, and some of them even wanted to run over to take a look at Xiao Bao. However, the fat rabbit grinned, revealed its sharp fangs, and roared fiercely, scaring them all away. Little Master was about to advance. This was the most crucial moment for Little Master. He had to guard it well. Chapter 15:14. The little fellows were not angered by the roar of the fat rabbit. They sat in a row, cupping their faces and holding their chins, watching the sleeping boy patiently and nervously. The clouds in the sky grew thicker. This time, the entire Danyang Mountain Range, the Woodfern Sea, and even the entire azure blue world were shrouded by the clouds. The day turned into night. In the sky above Danyang Mountain Range, thunder rumbled faintly. Faintly, 7 colored rays of light flickered from time to time. The cultivators of the azure blue world were alarmed. They all rushed outside, looking in the direction of the Danyang Mountain Range. Some even rushed to the vicinity of the Danyang Mountain Range, trying to find the source of the phenomenon and see if they could find any treasures. However, they found that the Danyang Mountain Range was too big. It stretched for thousands of miles. Even the best flying boat could not find it. At this moment, the phenomenon was still going on. Thunderbolts began to descend from the clouds one after another. Every single one of them brought with it an earth-shattering might. But when they hit the ground, they suddenly disappeared without a trace. Not even a small pit was left. It was as if they had been swallowed by something. However, the falling bolts of lightning seemed to have formed a barrier. If anyone tried to enter the Danyang mountain range, they would be struck by the lightning and instantly turned into charcoal. The cultivators could not resist the temptation, but they could only suppress their curiosity and wait outside the Danyang mountain range. What's going on? Is it the birth of a treasure? No, I think it's more like someone has broken through. Are you kidding me? Even if someone has broken through to the tribulation stage, something like this shouldn't happen. The thunderbolts lasted for 6 whole hours. The entire azure blue world was pitch black, to the point where one could not even see their own fingers. Suddenly, a blinding white light shot into the sky from the Danyang mountain range. The white light pierced a hole in the thick clouds. Then, like fireworks exploding, colorful rays of light shot out in all directions in the sky. It was as if a knife had cut through the clouds, revealing the blue sky and the blazing sun. Light had descended upon the land again. One could vaguely hear the melodious sound of a zither and the roar from the depths of one's soul. Subsequently, thousands of blue rays of light descended from the sky and landed in every corner of the Danyang mountain range. The light in the sky flourished, vast and majestic, like raging waves. On the ground, many people from the azure blue realm couldn't help but cover their eyes, but they also couldn't help but raise their heads to look. My eyes must be playing tricks on me. I think I saw 2 suns. Yes, I saw it too. One big and one small. Are you kidding me? How can there be 2 suns? You must have been dazzled by the light and seen wrongly. That's right. Look up now. There's only one sun. In the courtyard of the Inu Palace, Star Wolf, Ingmei, and Han Yi hurriedly rush out of the house. They look at the 2 scorching suns in the sky, one big and one small. Astonishment almost bursts from their faces. Yang spirit root. In this world, there's actually a second person with the same Yang spiritual root as Jun Shang. No, that's impossible. There must be a mistake. Moreover, there was no real, heaven-swallowing glorious sun. Maybe it was just an accident? Chapter 15:15. Just like the moon reflected in the water, blown away by the wind. Han Yi lets out a breath. That's what I said. How could there be a second Yang spirit root in this world? That's a Yang spirit root, ah. Ingmei also nods in silence. That's right, if there's a second Yang spirit root. Wouldn't that mean that there's a second person that's compatible with Miss Jun's moon spirit root? This is obviously impossible. Only Star Wolf frowned slightly, looking at the place where the little sun disappeared in the sky, not saying a word for a long time. Was that really not the vision caused by the Yang spirit root just now? Although the heaven-swallowing glorious sun didn't really appear, and the movement it caused is far less than the vision when the Yang spirit root's bloodline is activated. But when Jun Shang triggered the heaven-swallowing glorious sun for the 3rd time, Star Wolf was by his side. He feels that the energy contained in today's vision is somewhat similar to the divine power that surrounded Jun Shang that day. North of Danyang mountain range. In the beginning, when the 10,000 lightning bolts fall, the little guys are scared to death. But soon, they find that none of those lightning bolts fall on them, but are all swallowed up by the vortex on Xiao Bao's belly. As more and more lightning bolts fall, beads of sweat start to appear on Xiao Bao's forehead, and his little body keeps spasming. This time, the little guys are worried again. Boss seems to be in pain. Did he eat too much? One time, Su secretly ate too much, and then his belly hurt. You think Boss is you. Gluttonous ghost. The little guys want to approach, but they're all scared away by the fat rabbit baring its teeth. The fat rabbit's figure grows, and just like that, it firmly protects Xiao Bao in its arms, like guarding its most precious treasure, not letting anyone approach. As time goes by, the vortex in Xiao Bao's dantian spins faster and faster, and the sweat on his body increases. His little body curls up in the fat rabbit's hairy arms. A crystal teardrop falls from the corner of his eye. The young and thin little body gently trembles, and a weak but expectant voice spits out from between his lips and teeth. Niangqin. Xiaobao. Xiaobao misses you so much. Daddy. Xiaobao hurts? The fat rabbit whimpered and kept scratching the ground with its claws. It didn't even notice that it was bleeding profusely. He's too weak. Too weak. That's why I can't help the little master at all. She could not help him escape from danger, nor could she help him find the she-devil. Suddenly, the Bishia's sword swayed, and the blade flew up. Listen, is that the sound of a zither? The little fellows all tilted their heads. Even the fat rabbit couldn't help but raise its head. Then its dim mung bean eyes suddenly lit up. High mountains and flowing rivers, gentle and continuous. It was like the sound of a pendant ring, rising in spirals and melodious. It was as if a hand was gently caressing Xiaobao's frail body. A familiar figure whispered in Xiaobao's ear over and over again. Xiaobao, Mother misses you very much. Xiaobao, you must hold on and return to Mother's side. Xiaobao, in the whole world, you are the one Mother loves the most. You must not leave Mother. Boom! A dark blue light radiated from Xiaobao's body and instantly enveloped him. The trembling stopped, and so did the sweating and pain. The light continued to wash over Little Bao's body. Every inch of his meridians dantian, even his flesh and bones, and even his soul were being reconstructed bit by bit. Chapter 15-16. Roar. The fat rabbit roars and instantly becomes small, pouncing into Xiaobao's arms. It vigorously arches in his arms, making whimpering sounds. Xiaobao holds the fat rabbit in his arms, his voice emotional. Rabbit, I'm sorry, I made you worry. As he speaks, he takes out the medicine that Mayan refined from the storage ring and applies it on the rabbit's scarred body and paws. The fat rabbit that was cold and surging with murderous intent towards the little guy and Baixia. But in Xiaobao's arms, it's unreasonably well-behaved. It obediently extends its paws to let him apply the medicine. From time to time, it makes whimpering sounds that seem like a spoiled child, but also like a complaint. Xiaobao's cold and delicate little face also shows a trace of gentleness. His movements as he applies the medicine to the rabbit are especially gentle. After applying the medicine, Xiaobao looks up at the little guy and Baixia. Without waiting for Xiaobao to speak, the 5 little guys kneel down one by one. Greetings, boss. Thank you, boss, for saving our lives. Xiaobao frowns. Who are you calling boss? Muronghao looks up. You risked your life to save us, so you are our boss. Yes, we will follow you from now on. Boss, please let us work like cattle and horses to repay you for saving our lives. Xiaobao turns his head. No. Why? Xiaobao looks at them expressionlessly. You guys are too noisy. There's already a very noisy Baixia. If he brings 5 more, what if they disturb Niangqin? With that, he directly grabs the Baixia sword and leaves. Whoa, boss doesn't want us anymore? Whoa, little brother, Yin Yin won't be noisy. Please don't abandon us, okay? Boss, I'll swear, I'll be good. I won't be noisy. Once you're the boss, you'll always be the boss. Boss, if you really don't want us, well, we'll jump into this pit. We don't want to live anymore. The little guys are used to being willful and mischievous, seeing that the only boss they acknowledge actually doesn't want them. Each and every one of them feels like the sky is going to collapse. He actually dared to rush to the collapsed Fushi secret realm and tried to jump into it. Little Bao and Baixia were startled. Baixia quickly said, Little master, they were captured by someone else. This Danyang mountain range is huge, and there are many ferocious beasts in here. A few kids can never get out. Why don't you do a good deed and bring them out of the Danyang mountain range? The blade of the sword swayed. Just by looking at their clothes, you can tell that they have an extraordinary background. Think about it. If you send them back, their parents, oh no, their parents will definitely give you a lot of crystals as a reward. This way, your conscience will be at ease, and you'll receive the benefits. Killing two birds with one stone, isn't that great? Xiaobao thought about it and nodded seriously. Yes, I want something that Yangqin likes as a reward. Good, good. I know that you love your mother the most, and everything is based on your mother's preferences. TSK, TSK, TSK. I wonder what kind of obeisant could give birth to such a monstrous son. Xiaobao turned around and looked at the little ones. Come back. When the little fellows heard this, they didn't hesitate at all and swiftly scurried over to Xiaobao. All of them looked at him in surprise. Boss, are you willing to acknowledge us as your underlings? Yin Yin is my little sister. Chapter 15-17. I can bring you out of Danyang Mountain Range, but I have a condition. In Danyang Mountain Range, you have to listen to me. You are our boss. Of course we will listen to you. Boss, do you admit that we're your underlings now? Boss, what's your name? Yeah, boss. We are your underlings. We can't not know your name. Yin Yin also wants to know little brother's name. Xiao Bao's face tightened. I am Jun Machin. How nice. Boss's name is so nice. Boss, I am Morong Hao. You can call me Hao Hao. I am Yin Yin. Little brother, your name is too nice. Xiao Bao proudly raised his chin. Mother gave it to me. Nailin Yin held his face. Little brother's mother must be the best person in the world. Xiao Bao's brows curved into a smile, looking at the little radishes with a better expression. Of course his mother was the best person in the world. Bai Xia looked at the little brats flattering him and couldn't help but turn his sword around. These little brats from the other world are really something. How old are they? But they are already almost immortal. But the most monstrous of them all is definitely his little master. Bai Xia couldn't help but shake his sword. He was now the weapon spirit of the Bai Xia sword, a weapon spirit that had half of his soul corroded. Thus, he could only vaguely feel a person's aura and hear their voice. But he couldn't see their true appearance. But from their interactions and conversations, he could tell that his little master was very young. Definitely not more than 10 years old. A monster that successfully forged an immortal body at less than 10 years old. Yes, just now, the Fushi secret realm was devoured. The heaven and earth phenomenon, the tens of thousands of lightning strikes. All of this terrifying energy was finally absorbed by his little master Jun Machin. Finally, he forged an immortal body. Do you know what this means? From then on, Xiao Bao left the cultivation system of the cultivation continent. He no longer had to go through body forging, fasting, golden core, nascent soul, leaving body and tribulation. From the start, he was like a person born in the cultivation continent, possessing the rank of pseudo-immortal. However, the gap between the first stage and the ninth stage of a false immortal was huge. First and second stage false immortals were at most equivalent to the cultivation level between Innedia and Golden Core. The third and fourth stage false immortals were between Golden Core and Nascent Soul. Fifth and sixth rank false immortals were equivalent to leaving body stage cultivators. The strength of a rank 7 and rank 8 hollow immortal was equivalent to a tribulation passing cultivator. Level 9 false immortal was a heavenly tribulation for the people of the cultivation continent. Throughout history, there have been countless experts who have reached the tribulation stage. However, there were very few who could break through the tribulation stage and forge their immortal bodies to reach the ninth stage false immortal stage. However, his little master was different. Even though the little master was only a third stage false immortal, his strength was only equivalent to an early stage golden core. But that was a world of difference from an ordinary golden core, because from now onward, he wouldn't encounter any bottlenecks before attaining the ninth level of the void immortal realm. There was no need for him to undergo any tribulation. This also meant that the little master's cultivation speed would be far faster than ordinary people. The height that ordinary Shojin needed decades to reach, he might be able to reach in a few years or even a dozen months. Chapter 15-18. How could there be such a monstrous and heaven-defying existence like the little master in this world? Sob, sob, sob. He was so envious, jealous, and hateful. Shoshin continent, polar domain. Deeming, with a wave of his hand, The blood, not totem, dissipated in the air. A faint smile appeared on his grave and stern face. This smile was very complicated, as if it contained a bit of pride, a bit of disdain, and also a bit of tenderness that belonged to that child. Jun Shang, little, how is the young master? Deming? He said calmly, I have successfully forged my celestial body and am now a stage 3 hollow immortal. This was the feedback from the blood not totem. Ha! Elder Chong sucked in a breath of cold air. What? Did he hear wrongly? Successfully forged the immortal body. He succeeded in forging an immortal body on the cultivation continent? How is this possible? This Lord's son? What's impossible? Deming? He glanced coldly at Elder Chong, his face filled with displeasure at being looked down upon. Elder Chong shook his head repeatedly. No, this old man is just too shocked. Then he couldn't help but laugh. If I didn't know that you haven't been close to a woman for the past 1,000 years, this old man would have thought that the young master is your biological son. To be able to form a blood knot totem with Jun Shang without any backlash. After receiving Jun Shang's divine power, not only did she not fail to withstand it, she even used it to refine her body. Similarly, he is such an astonishing talent that he can easily gain the approval of Ying Mei and Han Yi. I heard that he has a pair of blue eyes, just like Jun Shang. All of this was too much of a coincidence. Unfortunately, this was only his wishful thinking. He has been by Jun Shang's side for so many years. If Jun Shang had a woman, and it was even a woman in the Yinwu continent, how could he not know? Elder Chong sighed. I wonder what kind of heaven-defying existence young master's biological father is. Deming? Hearing these words, he couldn't help but recall Mu Yan's words. I only love Xiao Bao's biological father. His face immediately darkened. With a flick of his sleeve, he coldly said, Ben Jun will return to the cultivation continent in 7 days. You can deal with the rest yourself? No. Jun Shang, this old man was wrong. No matter how heaven-defying that person is, he definitely can't compare to Jun Shang. Miss Jun definitely loves you, Jun Shang. Jun Shang. The two people who left in a hurry did not notice. As long as he was in the Xiaoxing continent, he would blindly follow Deming. Defeating armies, who was behind him, did not follow this time. Elder Chang's words kept echoing in his mind. If I didn't know that Jun Shang had never gotten close to a woman for the past 1,000 years, this old man would have thought that the little Gongzi was your biological son. His expression kept changing. After a long time, he lowered his head and whispered in a voice that no one could hear. 5 years ago. No, it can't be that coincidental. It can't be Danyang Mountain Range East. Beautiful sister, little brother is fine now. Stop playing. Stop playing. Woo woo woo. Jun Mayan, don't use the Shin musician skills anymore, or you'll die. Qiu and Qi Huang's anxious voices rang in his ears. However, Mu Yin couldn't hear anything. Her face was as pale as a sheet of paper, and her hands were dripping with blood. The wounds caused by the zither strings were so deep that bones could be seen, but she refused to stop for even a moment. His peach blossom eyes were bottomless, reflecting the world, mountains and rivers, but also as if there was nothing there. Chapter 1519. Xiao Bao, I'm sorry. It's Niangqin's fault that I can't stay by your side. Niangqin is too self-righteous, thinking that you'll be fine. Even if you're alone, you won't get hurt, won't feel pain. Niangqin is wrong. How can Niangqin leave you alone? I'm sorry, please come back to Niangqin, okay? As long as you can come back, Niangqin is willing to pay any price. Qiu keeps flapping its wings and circling around Mayan, trying to call back her reason. However, Mayan has built a barrier around her, making it impossible to break through. That kind of barrier is useless against Qi Huang, but he's the tool spirit of the Tian Mo Qin. Mayan is the master of the Tian Mo Qin. When Mayan really refuses to get close to him, he doesn't have any way. Qi Huang's eyes are red, and his hands that hang by his side are trembling slightly. His voice becomes more and more hoarse. Jun Mayan, wake up. Your son is fine. Did you hear me? Xiao Bao is fine. Jun Mayan, how can you be like this? Didn't you say that you would return my freedom? Didn't you say that you want to stand at the top of the world? Just like this. How can you be the master of the Tian Emochin? How can Benzun approve of you? Just then, several figures on a flying boat hurriedly land. Little junior sister, it's little junior sister. We finally found her. Sixth sister. Seeing June Mine's appearance, the six people's faces change in fright. As soon as Chocho sees them, it immediately cries and rushes over. Boo-hoo-hoo, wake up, pretty sister, little brother is fine. Pretty sister, don't play the zither anymore, there's so much blood. Boo-hoo-hoo. Chocho is scared. The people of the Xiao Yao sect have seen Chocho, and they know its special identity. At this time, Chocho's words are disorderly, and they don't quite understand it. But soon, they know that Mayan is like this because she wants to save someone. However, she wants to save someone to the point that she's almost possessed. So now, even if that person is out of danger, she still plays the zither regardless of her own safety. Yun Ruhan quickly rushes over, wanting to press the strings of the Tian Emochin. However, before she can get close, she is bounced away by a strong force. No, little junior sister has released her domain. She's too strong, we can't break through it. Next, Lung Yuma and the other four also try to break through Mayan's domain, but they can't. What should we do? If this goes on, junior sister will die of exhaustion. Right now, her life is not in danger. I feel that little junior sister's domain is still very strong, but at most in half a day, if little junior sister continues to consume her domain and spiritual power like this, her soul will really be damaged. I'll go to the academy to look for a teacher. No matter what, I can't let anything happen to junior sister. No, no way. Chu Moli said coldly, the way little junior sister is playing the zither now, you absolutely cannot let anyone see it. Having truly experienced the power of a Shun musician's skills, Chu Moli, who receives the Tian Emochin's treatment every month, knows better than anyone else how frightening the power of his junior sister's zither music is. That was not an ordinary musician, nor was it an ordinary zither player. If others were to find out about this, it would probably bring about a fatal disaster for junior sister. This won't do, that won't do. Don't tell me you want us to watch junior sister die? If junior master and teacher Mo were here. Chapter 1520. An incomparably handsome man, as elegant as jade, appears in front of them. Young martial uncle. They all cry out in alarm, pleasantly surprised. Young martial uncle. Why are you here? Young martial uncle, quickly save little junior sister. Luo Yunxiao doesn't hesitate and quickly walks towards Mayan. The domain barrier blocks him, but Luo Yunxiao just gently waves his hand, and the star domain drifts away like smoke. A pair of slender, jade-like hands with distinct joints gently presses on the Tian Emochin. The sound of the zither stops, and the surrounding voices finally enter Mayan's ears. June Mayan, you idiot! Beautiful sister, don't talk anymore, little brother is fine. Boo-hoo, little brother is fine now. Little junior sister, how are you? Can you hear us? Mayan slowly raises her head and meets a pair of eyes that are as light as water. Then, a low and indifferent voice with a hint of gentleness reaches her ears. Mayan, you've done very well. There's no need to continue. Mayan opens her cracked lips and hoarsely says, Young martial uncle? Luo Yunxiao gently nods. Xiaobao, is it all right? Luo Yunxiao doesn't know who Xiaobao is, but he answers without hesitation. Yes, Xiaobao is fine. Mayan's line of sight turns slightly to look at the little phoenix. Chocho bursts into tears and pounces into Mayan's arms. Feeling the little phoenix's feather that is so real that people can't tell that it's a soul, Mayan's thoughts slowly condense into a fact. Xiaobao is fine. Xiaobao is really out of danger. He's intact and even stronger than before. Mayan hoarsely says, Chocho, is Xiaobao all right? Chocho frantically nods. Beautiful sister. Chocho dares to swear that little brother is fine. Little brother is fine now. You see, Chocho's feathers are so beautiful, and the fireball he spits out is also more powerful than before. It's just that Cho is so worried about beautiful sisters, so much blood, boo. Mayan slowly exhales, the corners of her mouth hooking up into a smile, but she can't help but shed tears. She whispers, Cho, don't cry, I'm fine. Saying that, she takes out an elixir and sprinkles it on her wound. Look, the bleeding has stopped. It will be fine tomorrow. Xiaobao, are you really all right? Cho nodded again. Little Big Brother came out of that hole and is now walking in the forest. However, it's still too far, so Cho can't sense where he is. But I can feel that Little Big Brother is approaching us. Muyin suddenly gets up. I'll go find him now and meet up with him. What are you looking for? Lung Yuma said angrily. Look at how weak you are now. You still want to enter the depths of the Pilyang mountain range? Hurry up and go back to rest. Mayan anxiously says. Fourth sister, Luo Yunxiao, suddenly interrupted her. You ascended the ascension rankings and participated in flourishing heavenly light for the sake of Little Bao. Mayan nods. Then you can't leave. Yi Liangshan's name has already spread across the entire cultivation continent. Everyone knows that Yi Liangshan has only appeared in the Starry Land. If he wants to find you, he will definitely come to the Starry School. Chapter 15:21. Luo Yunxiao rarely spoke so much, but every sentence speaks to the bottom of Mayan's heart. She clenched her fists, Luo Yunxiao's words echoing in her mind. Should she charge into the Danyang mountain range and find her Xiaobao, or wait here? What if she entered the Danyang mountain range and missed Xiaobao? If she did not enter, what if Xiaobao met with danger again? Chu Moli suddenly said, Junior, the Tri-School tournament will be held at Starry School soon. According to what I know, every year, the Tri-Academy tournament is also a gathering of thousands of students. The School of the Emperor Star will be brightly lit throughout the night. Tai Square will also have fireworks at the beginning of the Jasper Forest gathering. Those fireworks can be seen even from 1,000 miles away. Luo Yu's eyes brightened. Yes, 6th Senior, aren't we going to the Jadewood gathering? If that person wants to find you, he will definitely come to Starry School. Even if he does not know where Starry School is, he will know the direction once he sees the lights and fireworks in the School of the Emperor Star. Then, you will definitely see him. Yun Ruhan said worriedly, Little junior sister, the most important thing now is for you to take care of your body. Otherwise, if you are eliminated early in the Tri-Academy tournament, wouldn't it be very difficult for the person you want to find you among thousands of people? Also, seeing how weak you are, you will definitely be worried. Mayan closes her eyes, and the churning emotions in her heart slowly calmed down. When she opened her eyes again, she was the usual calm and rational Mayan again. But looking at the people surrounding her and looking at her with concern, Mayan could not help but feel a lump in her throat. Sorry, I was too willful today. Lung Yumal laughed. Willful is good. Being willful is good. Junior, how old are you? If you are not willful occasionally, I will think that you are of the same seniority as junior uncle. Luo Yunxiao glanced over calmly. Lung Yuma shivered and did not dare to say another word. Yun Ruhan touched Mayan's head and said gently, Junior, don't worry. No matter what you want to do, we will be by your side. Don't always fight alone. You always help us. Don't you want us to help you occasionally? Yes, 6th Senior sister, we are from the same sect. Aren't we family? But junior sister, you're really too strong. We can't help you even if we wanted to. If it wasn't for junior martial uncle suddenly rushing over today, we would really be helpless. Seeing Mu Yin look over, Luo Yunxiao said indifferently, From tomorrow onwards, stay in the sword formation for 8 hours every day. Think clearly about what you did wrong today. Mu Yin gently smiled and nodded, but she could not help but shed tears. That was great. At a time like this, she still had a group of family members who would accompany her, protect her, and accept her unconditionally. She opened her mouth to speak, but her vision suddenly blurred, and her body softly fell to the ground. Junior sister, 6th Senior sister, everyone was about to reach out to help her up, but Luo Yunxiao was faster than them. Little martial uncle, is 6th Senior sister all right? Luo Yunxiao loosens the fingers on Mu Yan's wrist and shakes her head. It's just that my mind has been consumed too much and I've been using the domain for too long. I only need to rest for 2 days. Hearing this, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Chapter 15:22. Luo Yunxiao's hand, that was holding Mu Yan's body, clenched into a fist, then slowly loosened it. In her dark eyes, there was infinite light that flickered, settled, released, and endured. Bring Mu Yan back. I have something to do. After that, Luo Yunxiao handed Mu Yan to Lung Yuma and disappeared without waiting for anyone to ask. Junior Master? That's strange. How did Junior Master find this place? Did he have a premonition that something happened to Junior Sister? That's impossible. Junior Sister's life was not in danger just now. Even if he had a premonition, he couldn't have come here so quickly, right? What's more, this is Danyang Mountain Range. It's not easy to find someone here. We chased Junior Sister here, and only found her after such a long time. How did Junior Master find this place so accurately? The few of them discussed for a while, but to no avail. They could only carry Mu Yan on their back and sit on the flying boat. In the space, Qi Huang stood in front of the tower. Looking up, his mouth slowly curved into a sly smile. How did he find her? Of course, I let him find her. But it was only for a moment. The smile immediately disappeared. Qi Huang suddenly pressed his chest, his face revealing a look of horror. Danyang Mountain Range North. Boss, where are we going? The few little guys wiped their noses, nibbled on fruits, and looked at Xiao Bao with their big watery eyes. Xiao Bao touched the fat rabbit that was already asleep in his arms, and said with a trace of hope and longing, I want to find Mother. Boss, where's your mother? We'll help you find her. Yes, we're very familiar with Azure Blue World. If we can't find her, we'll ask our parents to help us. But Xiao Bao lowered his long eyelashes. His delicate and beautiful face was full of sadness. I don't know where Mother is. The sad look on the little angel's face was enough to melt even a stone-hearted man's heart. Not to mention that the little guys could not bear to see their boss like this. Even Bai Xie could not help but say, Little Master, what's your mother's name? Let's ask them one by one once we get out of Danyang Mountain Range. We'll definitely find her. That's right, boss. We'll get the family servants to help us search. With so many people searching together, we'll definitely be able to find it. Xiao Bao's long eyelashes fluttered. He raised his head to look at them and said, My mother's name is Yi Liangchun. He originally wanted to say Mu Yan's real name. However, he recalled the name of Yap Liangchen that he heard in the secret realm. Although Xiao Bao wasn't sure if it was an illusion or not, he still blurted out the name. However, he did not expect that as soon as he said this name, the 5 little fellas opposite him opened their eyes wide. The sound of chattering disappeared. The 5 little radishes looked as if they had seen a ghost. Yi Liangchun. Boss, are you talking about the Lord of Azure Sky, Yi Liangchen? Feng Su raised both of his hands and jumped. I know. I heard my sister talking about God Yi every day at home. He is Yi Liangchen. She even said that she wants to marry God Yi. Isn't God Yi a man? How could he be boss's mother? Duan Zi added excitedly. In the champion of the Golden Heavenly Light Finals, my uncle loves to buy God Ye's talismans. He goes to Tingwang Ruins to queue up every day. Chapter 15:23. The few little fellows start to laugh at Duan Zi. After laughing at him, they start to cry out in excitement. So great God Yi is Big Brother's mother. Wahaha! I knew Big Brother's mother is the most powerful in the world. Great God Yi, if you find your mother, can you ask her to give me a few talismans? I want to bring it to Uncle and make him jealous. Lu Hongyuan finally finds his voice. Big Brother, are you sure your mother is called Yi Liangchen? Is it that Lord of Clear Sky, Yi Liangchen? There are definitely people with the same name in the world. But Xiao Bao can be sure that his mother is definitely the Yi Liangchen that these little fellows are talking about. Because that day in the Fushi secret realm, he heard with his own ears the phrase, 3 rankings unite, Lord of Clear Sky is born. That is definitely his mother. It is because of him that his mother let the name Yi Liangshan resound throughout the world. His mother is telling him. Mother still can't find him, so she is standing in the most conspicuous position, waiting for Xiao Bao to find her. Xiao Bao presses his hand on his heart. When he was struggling with the scarlet-eyed devil crystal, he felt that he was really going to die. At that time, his whole body was in pain, and he was also very lonely and sad. But suddenly, two forces rushed in and brought him out of the hopeless situation. That is his mother's Shin musician power, and his father Xiao Bao's cold little face shows a happy smile. So, not only is his mother looking for him, even his father didn't forget him, didn't give up on him. He wants so much, wants to quickly return to his father and mother's side. Meeting Lu Hongyuan's questioning gaze, Xiao Bao nods without hesitation. Where is mother? Or rather, where can they find Yi Liangshan? This question makes the few little fellows stumble. Because in the world, only a few people know the true identity of Great God Yi. Going to Tianguang Ruins is the easiest way to find Great God Yi. But they don't have the jade key in their hands. Their belongings have all been taken away by those bad guys. The few little fellows scratch their ears and cheeks, thinking so hard that their brains are about to break. This was the first mission boss had given them. If they couldn't complete it, what qualifications did they have to be loyal subordinates? Suddenly, Duan Zi's eyes lit up, and he jumped up in excitement. I remember now, the Tri-Academy tournament. I heard from my cousin that it's going to be held in the Starry School soon. As soon as he said that, the others immediately became excited. They chattered nonstop. Yes, yes. God, you must be a student of the Tri-Academy. He'll definitely participate in the Tri-Academy tournament. Maybe he'll even kill everyone. As long as we go watch the Tri-Academy tournament, we'll definitely be able to find your mother. Where will the Tri-Academy tournament be held this year? Yin Yin knows. It's the Starry School. Yin Yan's brother was also in Starry School. Brother, let's go to the Starry School. Xiao Bao's heart thumped wildly as he listened to the little fellow's chatter. It's as if he can already see the scene of him reuniting with his mother. After so long, he finally received accurate news about his mother and knew where to find her. That was great. He could finally return to his mother's side. So, you guys really didn't die. Suddenly, a rough voice came from behind them. Chapter 15:24. The little ones were shocked when they heard the voice. They turned around and saw a muscular man. Their faces changed. Ah, it's the big bad guy that caught us. Wah wah wah. Boss, save us. The little fellows immediately hid behind Xiao Bao. Pairs of eyes stared anxiously at the muscular man and his underlings. Xiao Bao looked at the group of people in front of him. He squinted his eyes, but his expression didn't change at all. These people's cultivation level was not low. Each of them was at least at the peak level of abstinence. The leader of the group was a muscular man, and the two men in black robes beside him were all golden core level. The sturdy man was at the middle stage of the gold core realm. Little brother, I'm telling you, these are all bad guys. Nailin Yin clenched her fists and said angrily. Yin Yin saw them kill people with my own eyes. They even threw them into the cave to feed the monsters. Bai Xie said solemnly, these must be the guards of the Fushi secret realm. In order to feed the blood abyss vines and the scarlet-eyed demonic crystal, they have no choice but to kill humans, using the hatred, resentment, and blood of humans to feed the blood abyss vines. This allowed the demonic chi in the Fushi Grand Array to grow stronger, trying to corrode the evil warding sword's barrier and erase my consciousness. Xiao Bao nodded. He held the evil warding sword tightly. Mother once said that those who kill the innocent are not human. They are scum that are worse than animals. They should all be killed. The muscular man's eyes turned and landed on the evil warding sword in Xiao Bao's hand. His pupils shrunk. You took out the evil warding sword, little one. Who are you? Before Xiao Bao could answer, the muscular man's eyes shone with greed. The Fushi Grand Array was destroyed. I was worried that I would be punished when I returned. But now, with you and the evil warding sword, not only will I not be punished, I will also be rewarded handsomely. Ha! The muscular man waved his hand and shouted, "Kill these little ones. Leave this kid with the sword alive." Yes. The little carrots' faces paled. They trembled in fear. "Boss, what do we do? What do we do? There are so many of them, and they are all so strong. Boo-hoo, I don't want to die." Xiao Bao looked at them coldly and said in a stern voice, "None of you are allowed to cry. Whoever cries again is not allowed to call me boss in the future." He didn't want a bunch of noisy, crying lackeys. What if Nyangqin dislikes it if I bring it to Nyangqin? And his father would definitely laugh at him. The little fellows immediately covered their mouths and blinked their big, watery eyes, not daring to make a single sound. Little Treasure looked at the burly man. The evil warding sword, which was about the same size as the burly man, was easily lifted by him. "Bai Xie, do you want revenge?" Of course I do. I've been imprisoned for so many years, and there's no answer to my cries. I'm not the Virgin Mary Sue. If the left side of my face is slapped, I'll extend the right side of my face to be slapped. Bai Xie's voice wasn't loud, nor was it noisy, but it was sinister and filled with a bone-piercing, killing intent. These sons of bitches, shameless bastards. Even in my dreams, I wish I could chop them into pieces, tear them into pieces, knead them, and feed them to the dogs. 15 minutes later. Chapter 15:25. His line of sight slowly moved downwards. The ground was littered with corpses and a huge bloody hole in his chest. Impossible this, how is this possible? He was killed by a 5-year-old kid. Who was this little boy? Bang! The huge body of the big man fell heavily, dying with his eyes wide open. Xiao Bao jumped down from the treetop. The huge Bixia sword disappeared from his hand. But the Bixia sword was not kept in the storage ring, but in a small space. After awakening, Xiao Bao found that there was a small space in his sea of consciousness. In the space, there was a large field of snow-red lotus and 7 springs of different colors. There was very little spring water, but Xiao Bao recognized it at a glance. It was the 7 clear spring. So, after he swallowed the Fushi secret realm, it did not disappear completely, but turned into a smaller version, hiding in his body. Just like Mother's Tian Mo Qin space. Xiao Bao looked at the field of snow-red lotus and 7 clear spring happily. Bunny likes to eat red flowers. He can eat until he is full every day. This spring water is sweet. If Mother drinks it, I wonder if she will like it. Little Master, you are so awesome. You actually turned the Fushi secret realm into a portable space. The Bixia sword shook its body, unspeakably excited. Snow-red lotus is the best spirit nourishment. I can rest here. I will be able to condense the sword's spirit true body soon. Waha! I will finally see the light of day again. Xiao Bao heard Bixia sword's happy voice. The smile on his face deepened, and his consciousness left the Fushi secret realm. The little guys have already stepped on the body of the big man to vent their anger, and then rushed over to surround Xiao Bao. Xiao Bao stopped them from flattering, and said sternly, "You are too weak. From today onwards, all of you will follow me to cultivate." Xiao Bao used to be in charge of the ink camp under the Netherfire army. They are all men of iron bones. Even the weakest, Liu Beiyu, isn't a cowardly egg who cries and wails endlessly. Plus, Xiao Bao was only 5 years old, but he never cowered. So, he naturally felt that if these people wanted to be his little brothers, even if they were young, they must be strong. Otherwise, if word got out that these were his underlings, wouldn't he be laughed at by others? Not only did the little radishes not feel dejected, but their eyes lit up with excitement. "Boss, we are willing to train with you. We will never be afraid of hardship or tiredness. Yes, we are not little crybabies. We will not cry in the future. I must follow boss. Yin, don't cry. Yin also needs to cultivate." Xiao Bao nodded in satisfaction when he saw how loyal they were. Then, he turned to look at the dense forest that stretched as far as the eye could see. The Starry School was in the east of the Danyang mountain range, so as long as he headed east, he would be able to see his mother. He didn't know how long the journey would be, and there would definitely be many powerful beasts in the mountains. However, with the fat rabbit around, Xiao Bao wasn't afraid of the fierce beasts at all. But next, it was better not to scare away the beasts. He still needed the beasts to train his little brothers, the little turnips, who were imagining how awe-inspiring they would be under their boss's training and how they would be able to kill their enemies, couldn't help but shudder. Chapter 15:26. This group of spoiled young masters and young ladies had no idea how miserable their fate would be in this Danyang mountain range in the next half a month. Purple Cloud Boundary, Evolution Moon Sect. In the basement, the bell shook violently, making a hurried sound like a soul being chased. The fierce beasts around the bell fell to the ground in pain, bleeding from their 7 orifices and dying. When all the fierce beasts died, the bell stopped ringing completely. However, Ling Dang's body was still emitting a dark red glow. The white-bearded old man pressed his hands on the stone platform excitedly, almost unable to control his emotions. It's the son of Heaven's Luck, the real son of Heaven's Luck. How can our luck be so good? We actually found the real son of Heaven's Luck. Li Zuping was a little surprised when he heard this. Master, is the son of Heaven's Luck also the medicinal catalyst of Fenghua quicksand? The white-bearded old man shook his head. No, no, no. The so-called Heavenly Tao's favored child is just an ancient god? To put it bluntly, the remaining Ermin were nothing more than luck snatchers. But the son of Heaven's Luck is different. If we get the son of Heaven's Luck and make him work for us, what is Tiani Man? As for Fenghua quicksand, we only need to cut a piece of flesh from the son of Heaven's Luck. Huh? Quick, send out all the people in the intersect. Be sure to bring back the son of Heaven's Luck in one piece. Li Zuping's eyes flashed with greed. Master, why don't disciple bring back the son of Heaven's Luck? The Jasper Forest meeting of Azure Blue World is in a few days. Master Ho has some plans to implement while His Highness is going to Azure Blue World. I can show my loyalty to Master Ho and also find the son of Heaven's Luck at the same time. I won't attract the attention of others. The white-bearded old man's expression changed. He was obviously a little moved, but he still said cautiously, you should know how important it is to find the son of Heaven's Luck and the medicinal catalyst of Fenghua quicksand. Even the people on Master Ho's side must not be leaked. Li Zuping immediately patted his chest. Don't worry, Master. I still know this. Just wait for the good news. The white-bearded old man was silent for a moment before he finally nodded. All right, go ahead. If we do this well, our Evolution Moon sect will have a meteoric rise, and it will no longer be a dream for us to ascend to the cultivation continent. Li Zuping excitedly exchanged a glance with the white-bearded old man before turning around and leaving. Starry School, School of the Emperor's Star. Diyu Dao had just come out of seclusion. When he heard the report from his subordinate, he could not believe his ears. What did you say? The Fushi Grand Array was destroyed. All the people guarding the Bixia sword are dead. The black-robed man knelt on the ground, shivering. The demonic bell that is connected to the core of the Fushi Grand Array has shattered, and the soul lamps of those guards have also suddenly extinguished. I'm afraid that they're in grave danger. Are you kidding me? That was the Fushi Grand Array, guarded by so many blood abyss vines, demonic beasts, and demonic plants. How could it be destroyed so easily? What the hell happened? Trembling with fear, the black-clothed man hurriedly reported the abnormality of the Danyang mountain range a day ago. Diyu Dao's face turned pale. He did not understand who destroyed the Fushi Grand Array, killed the guards of the secret realm, and snatched the Bixia sword. Could it be that a tribulation cultivator had accidentally discovered the Fushi secret realm, coveted the Bixia sword, and snatched it away? Chapter 15:27. The Fushi secret realm was an extremely secretive existence. Even a cultivator at the peak of the crossing calamity stage would not be able to detect it. How could it be so easily discovered? Diyu Dao's mind was spinning, but it eventually turned into infinite fear. If his master knew that he had failed to guard the evil warding sword, causing the Fushi's secret realm to be destroyed and the evil warding sword stolen, he would definitely wish he was dead. Have you sent anyone to investigate? The man in black nodded. I have already sent people to investigate the vicinity of the Fushi secret realm. However, the news that came back said that the place had already become a ruin. There was no trace of the person. I think that person must have already left on the evil warding sword. In the depths of the Danyang mountain range, flying boats were unable to fly because there were countless demonic plants and fierce beasts that could fly. However, for those almighty cultivators who had reached the pinnacle of cultivation, flying on a sword in the Danyang mountain range was a piece of cake. The man in black subordinates did not even think that the person who destroyed the Fushi secret realm and killed 3 golden core cultivators would be a child who could not even fly. Therefore, they did not even investigate the traces left in the forest. They only thought that the person who had stolen the sword had already left. Diyu Dao could not bear it anymore. He stepped forward and kicked the man in black's chest. Trash. All of you are trash. Send out the order to send people to search the vicinity of the Danyang mountain range. Do not let go of any traces. Yes, Dean. The black-clothed man scrambled away. Diyu Dao was still pacing anxiously in the room. He kept muttering, "No, I can't be killed by my master like this. I must redeem myself. That's right, that pill. As long as I successfully refine that pill, maybe my master will let me redeem myself." However, that pill had been secretly refined for so many years. So many lives had been sacrificed, but it had never been successful. It was not something that could be refined just like that. Diyu Dao felt that he was about to go crazy from fear. Suddenly, he thought of something and his eyes lit up. The Tri-Academy Tournament. That's right, the Tri-Academy Tournament was his turning point. He heard that several clans and sects from the Ziyun realm would come to watch the Tri-Academy Tournament. In particular, he even heard that even the Imperial family would come. That's right, as long as he could curry favor with the royal family and gain their protection. Perhaps even his master would not dare to touch him. Diyu Dao sat down and grabbed the armrests on both sides of the chair tightly, as if he was holding on to his last life-saving straw. When Mu Yin wakes up, it's already the morning of the 3rd day. When she played the Zither the day before yesterday, the spiritual power in her body was almost dried up. Her meridians and dantian were empty, and she felt a burning pain. But now that he had woken up, he felt that the spiritual energy in his body was incomparably abundant and pure. Even his domain seemed to be much stronger than before. Mayan plucks the Tian Emochin, and then delightedly discovers that the body of the Tian Emochin seems to be a lot brighter than before. Moreover, the day before yesterday, because she was worried about Xiao Bao, she directly activated her Shun Musician level 5 skill, the 5th level of the Shun Musician skills, in addition to the upgrade of the major skills. He also activated the 2nd form of Holy Sound Rotation from Holy Benevolence. If one were to say that the benevolence of the saints could only overtransfer the vitality of oneself and all living things in the world to others at close range. Chapter 15:28. After Mu Yin had a premonition that something had happened to Xiao Bao, she immediately rushed into the Danyang mountain range. She was betting that Xiao Bao was in the Pilyang mountain range. Through the rotation of holy sound and the resonance of all plants, he used all the spiritual plants in the Red Yang mountain range as a medium to transfer the vitality in his body to Xiao Bao. Finally, at the critical moment, he pulled Xiao Bao back from the gates of hell. However, rotation of holy sound was the same as saint's benevolence, in that it consumed one's own lifespan and soul to steal someone from the hands of the king of hell. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he would definitely not use it. As for the holy sound rotation, because of the different mediums, it consumed more lifespan and soul power. Many of these consumptions would even result in irreversible losses. Mine was able to recover so quickly this time because she was lucky. She was burning with anxiety, and the desire to save Xiao Bao became stronger and stronger in her mind. In the end, she activated the Holy Sound rotation on her own. However, at that time, she had yet to completely advance to the 5th level of Shin Musician. If he continued to use the Sacred Sound rotation like this, he would definitely die. It was 7 brilliance. When she was exhausted, he didn't hesitate to consume his own artifact spirit's primordial spirit to help her break through to the 5th rank. After breaking through to the 5th level of Shin Musician, Mu Yan's Shin Musician skill bar has a new medical skill, Calm the Soul. Calm the Soul, medical skill of the Shin Musician. It can only be used on the soul and primordial spirit. It can also be used on the body. It is used to condense the soul and repair the defects of the primordial spirit during cultivation and battle. The skill that had just been activated would release a large amount of energy. Therefore, it made up for her consumption in the rotation of Holy Sound. On the contrary, it allowed her to rise from the ashes, and her cultivation and strength increased by a lot. It was a blessing in disguise. Most importantly, with the Calm Soul skill, she was more confident that she could cure Su Zi's heart disease. Su Zi's half-soul was too unstable, and Mu Yan was afraid that Su Zi wouldn't be able to hold on during the treatment process, so she didn't dare to do it. In this way, 7 brilliance might really be able to leave this space and see the sun. Thinking like this, Mind suddenly realizes that when she woke up today, Qi Huang has been abnormally quiet. The red-clothed youngster quietly sits next to the Tianmo Qin, not scolding it fiercely. He didn't play the spirit-peering chess or wander around the Tianguang ruins. Just like that, he looked into the distance silently, his eyes dark and bottomless. His entire body seemed to be engulfed by something. Mu Yan's heart thumps, and she quickly steps forward. Suddenly, he raised his hand and heavily knocked on 7 Brilliance's forehead. Qi Xiaowang, why are you pretending to be so profound? Do you think you're more handsome than Junior Martial Uncle just because you show your melancholy? Qi Huang covered his forehead with his hand, still in a daze. By the time he realizes what Mu Yan is saying, the red-clothed youth immediately explodes. Junmine, what did you just say? I, the Supreme Overlord, am more handsome than that pretty boy. Do you even have eyes? You bastard, fickle woman, you really have taken a fancy to that gigolo. Mu Yan is all smiles as she watches the youngster stamping his feet in front of her. That's right. This was 7 brilliance. That deep and gloomy look just now made her feel uncomfortable all over. All right. Our 7 brilliance is the most handsome, most beautiful, and most handsome. No one can compare to you. Chapter 15:29. Qi Huang has a tsundere look on his face, but he can't help but want Mu Yan to smoothen his hair a few more times. She raises her chin awkwardly for a long time before she gently asks, Junmine, will you always be this good to me? Mu Yan nods without hesitation. No matter what I become, you won't dislike me? Mine crosses her arms over her chest, slightly narrowing her eyes as she looks at him. Say it. What did you do to let me down again? Did you run outside and squander your crystals or lose some of my treasures? Or did you cause trouble in the Tianguang ruins? Jun Mu Yan, Qi Huang angrily shouts, jumping 3 feet high, wanted to beat Mu Yan up. I am a dignified ancient artifact spirit. No, this Zun. This Zun is an ancient artifact spirit. You bastard, what do you take this exalted one for? Mu Yan easily dodged the devilish brat and said with a smile, Of course you're Qi Xiao Huang. Qi Huang paused and looked at her in a daze. Mine's smile becomes more and more gentle. In my eyes, no matter when or where, you will always be Qi Xiao Huang. This will never change. Qi Huang stared at him blankly, then a brilliant smile blossomed on his face as he nodded heavily. For the people of the Azure Blue Domain, the Jasper Forest Gathering did not only represent the competition between the Stars Academy, the Phoenix Heaven Academy, and the Spirit Martial Academy, but it also represented the most important gathering of the Azure Blue Domain that occurred once a year. This grand event was held by the 3 academies in rotation every year. The 3 Academy competition was undoubtedly the most important event of the Jasper Forest Gathering. but it was not the only event. After all, those who could participate in the Tri-Academy tournament were the elites among the elites of the academies. But the Jasper Forest Gathering was a grand ceremony that everyone could participate in. It was a place where people toasted each other, a place that was bustling and lively. Every year at the Jasper Forest Festival, all the students except the 3 academies would participate. There would also be various aristocratic families and sects who would come to observe the talents of the young students in the academy and select the talents they wanted. There were also people who came to inspect the advantages and disadvantages of the academy, wondering if they should send their children here. In short, the Jasper Forest Gathering every year was extremely important to every cultivator of Azure Blue Domain. The Tri-Academy tournament was scheduled for April 17th, but as early as April 15th, Mu Yin and the other students who had registered for the Tri-Academy tournament were invited to the School of the Emperor Star in advance. Every team participating in the competition had their own courtyard in the School of the Emperor Star. The layout and furnishings of each room in the courtyard were more than 100 times better than when the new students had entered the academy. As for Mu Yin and the rest, they finally witnessed the financial resources of the Starry School. They had come to the School of the Emperor Star many times. However, in just half a month, the entire School of the Emperor Star had changed completely. The palaces that originally looked like they could only accommodate a few thousand people now seemed boundless. Mu Yin and the others watch helplessly as group after group of people come in. All the students of the Spiritual Force Academy and the Fontian Academy were stuffed into the School of the Emperor Star. There were at least tens of thousands of people staying there, but the School of the Emperor Star was still empty. No matter where he went, he would never feel crowded. Especially Long Music Palace that provided food, leisure, and communication for all Shioja. From the outside, it was only a few hundred square meters in size. Chapter 1530. As for the Tai Square where the Tri-Academy competition was going to be held, it had completely changed. It was unknown when a grandstand had risen from the ground. Sitting in the grandstand, one could clearly see the battle scene in the center of the Greater One Square. Only now did Mu Yin and the others know that Tai Plaza wasn't the only treasure. The entire School of the Emperor Star was built with Sumeru mustard seed fragments. Thus, even though the other buildings in the School of the Emperor Star could not be expanded as easily as Tai Square, there were still countless miraculous things about them. After the people from the Alcade School entered the School of the Emperor Star, they were like country bumpkins entering a big town. Everything they saw was extremely rare. Sixth senior sister, come and see, come and see. Luo Yu said excitedly. There's a sieve on this table. It's powered by spiritual power. Lung Yima also said excitedly. But there's even a place to bet here. They're actually betting on the results of this Tri-Academy tournament. Heh. Do you think we should also bet a little? Luo Yu and the other shouts attracted the attention of the other people in Changle Palace. Those who were closer to them curled their lips and said in disdain, I wonder where these country bumpkins came from. Have they never participated in the Jasper Forest Gathering before? Why are you making a fuss about everything? The Jasper Forest Gathering is really becoming more and more depraved. To think that any Tom, Dick, or Harry would be allowed to spectate. The Jasper Forest Gathering that our Phoenix Sky Academy organized last time wasn't so unpresentable. TSK, the Starry School can't do it anymore. What are you talking about? The people at the other table wearing the Starry School uniform immediately slammed the table and stood up. I dare you to say that again. I'll tell you. The student from the Fontian Academy, who had spoken earlier, also stood up and said without backing down, in the Jasper Forest Gathering held in the past few years, when did your Starry School not lose to our Fontian Academy? I think in another 2 years, you guys won't even be able to beat the Spiritual Martial Arts School, right? Haha, that's right. In last year's Tri-Academy tournament, although your Tianshu team won second place, the 4th, 5th, and 6th places were all from our Spiritual Martial Arts Academy. TSK. Some academies are really miserable. This year, I'm going to lose face in front of my own home. His words immediately angered more than half of the Starry School students in Changle Palace. Bah! Your Phoenix Sky Academy is powerful, but no matter how powerful you are, do you have an Azure Cloud Master? Why don't you crawl back now, raise your dog heads, and see who is ranked first on the Nirvana rankings. Right, the number one on your Nirvana rankings is still our great God Yi. You still have the cheek to say that Feng Tian is stronger than our Starry School. How shameless of you! If you have the ability, then ask the members of the Phoenix Sky Academy to seize the first position on the Ascension rankings. The people from the Phoenix Sky Academy were at a loss for words, and their faces turned pale. Yes, for the past few months, Yi Liangshen's name had become the nightmare of both the Phoenix Sky Academy and the Spirit Martial Arts Academy. In just a short month, it wasn't even enough for the two Linglong, Nirvana, and Ling Xiao lists. Later on, they even refreshed the announcements in the Tianguang ruins crazily, so that the name Yi Liangshen was deeply imprinted in their minds and could not be removed. Currently, the number of Feng Tian Academy students ascending the Nirvana rankings was decreasing. Chapter 1531. Seeing the Feng Tian Academy students being humiliated, the Starry School's people felt great. They all became arrogant and almost raised their chins to the sky. But soon, a student wearing the uniform of the Lingwu Academy couldn't help but say, you always talk about Yi Liangshen. Tell me, is Yi Liangshen, the great god, participating in the Tri-Academy competition? As soon as he said this, the entire Changle Palace fell silent for a moment. The Starry School students' faces turned green and white. They were all indescribably ugly. Yes, they were unwilling to admit it. However, almost everyone had checked the name list of the participants of the Tri-Academy tournament. But Yi Liangshen was not on it. However, after a moment of silence, the students of the Phoenix Sky Academy burst into laughter. God Yi is not participating in the Tri-Academy tournament. That means the Starry School is really going to be last this year. If you ask me, I don't even know if God Yi is from the Starry School. Unless we find God Yi from the Starry School now. I can also say that God Yi is from the Spiritual Martial Arts School. God Yi is from the Feng Tian Academy. Only the Feng Tian Academy is so powerful that we can cultivate someone as powerful as God Yi. The Starry School students were furious. All of you shut up. God Yi is from our Starry School. How shameless of you to want to snatch God Yi away. It's okay. If you dare to steal God Yi, I'll beat you up. Brothers, let's beat him up. We'll use our fists to tell these shameless people that God Yi is from the Starry School, and he'll be our ghost even if he dies. The students from the three factions in the Changle Palace immediately started fighting. Muyan held a teacup in her hand and watched the scene, dumbfounded. When she heard God Yi is from the Starry School, and he'll be our ghost even if he dies, she almost spat out the tea in her mouth. Did this group of people have to be so crazy? Did they have to be so sincere? What did she do? Didn't she just challenge the Qingyan ranking? Didn't she just participate in Golden Tianguang? The people from the Xiaoyao School and Su Zi were already laughing hysterically. Luo Yu cupped her face and said, "Sixth senior sister, you are so popular." Does this count as a tragedy caused by junior sister? Muyan holds her forehead and rolls her eyes at this group of gloating guys. Anyway, this matter has nothing to do with me. Yes, it has nothing to do with me. Changle Palace was under the supervision of the academic supervisor. Therefore, as soon as the three-way war broke out, members of the academic supervisor and deacons immediately rushed in. The cultivation of these members of the academic council might not be high, but they had the authority to control the Changle Palace. Therefore, the fight between the three parties quickly subsided. After the warning of expulsion from the Bright Jasper Forest Society, the hot-blooded students finally calmed down and returned to their seats. Not long later, the voices of the crowd once again entered Mu Yan's ears. You can place your bets now. Who do you think will be the champion of this year's Tri-Academy tournament? If you ask me, it's definitely the king of Feng Tian. That's the team led by Lu Jinheng. No one can fight against them. Chapter 1532. Senior Ouyang has already broken through to the high level of the Golden Elixir realm. Together with the new Silver Feather Palace genius Hua Xiangrong, they might not be weaker than your team monarch. Don't underestimate Ling Wu's dominance. We have a trump card this year. We're going to fight for first place. Haha. How many years has it been since Ling Wu won first place? You still want to fight? It's not even dark yet. Stop daydreaming. Tui. Your Feng Tian is nothing. If Great God Yi came out, he would have beaten all of you to the ground. Are you looking for death? I'll say it again. God Yi is from our starry school. As they talked, they almost quarreled again. However, they calmed down when they recalled the warning from the school board. Just then a shout came from outside. Excuse me. Master Xianhai's latest strength ranking is out. The crowd exploded. Really? Master Xianhai's strength ranking is out so early this year. Great. With Master Xianhai's ranking as a reference, I don't have to worry about betting on the wrong person. Soon a group of people swarmed in. Most of them were students from the 3 schools. However, there was one person who stood out. He was about 30 or 40 years old and had a wisp of beard on his upper lip. It was neatly groomed. He wore a simple blue robe. Apart from a wooden hairpin, there were no other decorations. He was young, but he exuded a sage-like aura. When everyone saw this middle-aged man, they immediately surrounded him in surprise and joy. Master Xianhai, you're here for the Jasper Forest Gathering too. Master Xianhai, it's our honor to be able to meet you. Xianhai touched his beard and smiled mysteriously. There will be many big shots participating in today's Jasper Forest Gathering. If I don't come, I'll regret it for the rest of my life. Xianhai's words made the students from the 3 schools excited and curious. Who was the big shot that even Master Xianhai said would regret for the rest of his life? The Starry School students even wondered if it was Sir Yun Xiao and Mentor Mo. However, young Master Yun Xiao and teacher Mo had already disappeared without a trace a few months ago. Dean Zhai also directly said that the 2 instructors were only in name at the Yaowang branch. They might not appear again in the future. Therefore, the Alcade branch became a deserted place again, and no one paid attention to it anymore. Now that the Jasper Forest Gathering was about to begin, there had been no news of the 2 teachers returning. Logically speaking, it couldn't be them, hearing the people around them asking who exactly was that big shot. Xianhai shook his head with a mysterious look on his face. Since he's a noble, his name and whereabouts aren't something that can be casually mentioned. Everyone was resentful and regretful, but they could only let it go. However, someone quickly asked, Master Xianhai, I heard that your latest strength assessment is out. In the past, didn't you always wait until the end of the competition before releasing the evaluation list? Xianhai leisurely sat down on a nearby seat. A horsetail whisk suddenly appeared in his hand, and he gently swayed it. Chapter 1533. As soon as he finished speaking, Xianhai waved his hand. The 2 little Taoist children behind him immediately grabbed the 2 sides of a scroll. With a whoosh, the scroll was unfurled. The crowd immediately surrounded it, squeezing the scroll so tightly that not even a drop of water could trickle through. Lung Yuma and Luo Yu looked at the crowded crowd and immediately became restless. Let's go and see what our Xiao Yao team's ranking is. Although the front of the scroll was crowded with people, Lung Yuma was strong, and Luo Yu was agile and nimble. They quickly squeezed into the center of the crowd, only to see that the scroll impressively wrote Team Comprehensive Strength List, 1st place, Feng Tian Wang 2nd place, W Xing Chen 3rd place, Lingwu Xiongba. Luo Yu and Lung Yuma looked all the way back, only to see their team's name in the last place. 21st place, Xing Chen Xiao, Yaoling Yuma, and Luo Yu angrily leaned back. How did their Xiao Yao team become the last place? As a result, when they looked down at the individual strength ranking, the two of them were even more angry. First place, Feng Tian Lu Jinhong second place. Xingchen Ouyang Qing third place. Feng Tian Gu Jinghai. The Xiao Yao school's ranking was at the bottom of the middle. Lung Yuma and Yin Ruhan were still alright. They were at least in the top 100. The most outrageous thing was that, including the substitutes, there were a total of nearly 300 people, and the last place was unexpectedly Jun Mayan. Fuck. Lung Yuma flipped out on the spot and cursed. What kind of bullshit ranking is this? It's not accurate at all. Although the scene was noisy. But Lung Yuma's voice was so loud that it attracted the attention of most people. Who are you? You actually dare to slander Master Xianhai. Do you know that Master Xianhai's strength evaluation ranking has been correct for several years? That's right, Master Xianhai previously studied in our Feng Tian Academy. His strength in the Feng Tian Academy was not bad, and he even participated in the 3 Academies tournament. His vision is extremely accurate, and he would not make a mistake in judging a person's strength. Who do you think you are, little girl, to actually dare to question Master Xianhai? Lung Yuma stepped on the stool with her hands on her hips. Her imposing manner alone was stronger than hundreds of people. This old lady doesn't care if you're Master Xianhai or Master Xiandi. In short, this ranking is wrong and must be corrected. The crowd was suddenly pushed apart. Master Xianhai looked at Lung Yuma and Luo Yu without the slightest bit of displeasure on his face. Instead, he lightly waved his horsetail whisk and smiled. Little girl, do you have any doubts about this strength ranking? Why don't you tell me? Lung Feather Mo's face darkened as she pointed to the last place on the team leaderboard. Why is the Carefree team ranked last? It's fine if the Carefree team is at the very end, but why is mine also at the very end? Did you make this list with your eyes closed? Or brainless? Master Xianhai narrowed his eyes and looked at her for a moment, then laughed softly. This poor Taoist knows you. You are Lung Yuma from the Star team, right? And you are Lan Luoyu of the Star's Carefree team. The two of you are ranked 42nd and 86th on this poor Taoist personal ranking list. In terms of individual strength, it's not bad. However, the Jasper Forest Gathering is a team battle. It's not enough for an individual to stand out. Lung Yuma frowned and was about to reply. Chapter 1534. Isn't it natural for your Xiao Yao team to be ranked last? Firstly, every participating team has 10 members, with 3 to 5 substitutes taking turns. However, your Carefree team only has 7 members in total. Let me ask you, in a situation where your strength is equal, with 10 members against 7 members, do you think you have any chance of winning? Second, look at the cultivation of everyone in your team. In this competition, every member, including the substitutes, is at the peak of Anidia. Those strong teams even have Jindan Xiozha. What about you? 3 at the peak of Anidia, the rest are at level 8, level 9, and there's even 1 at level 7. TSK. You can't be thinking that the Tri-Academy competition, which is a gathering of talents, is a small competition like the freshman entrance examination, right? Only level 7 Luo Yu's face turned purple from anger. Only level 9 Lung Yuma also wanted to kill someone. But what made Luo Yu most angry was, my 6 Shiji is at the peak of Anidia. What right do you have to say that her personal strength is the weakest? Xianhai stroked his beard, not at all annoyed by Luo Yu and Lung Yuma's questioning attitude. Instead, he slowly explained, Junmu Yin is an assistant zither player. With her performance in the freshman entrance examination, if she can enter a strong team, she will naturally be very useful. Even if her martial strength is very low, this Taoist will definitely not rank her last. But the problem is, an assistant zither player with no fighting strength in a weak 7-person team, wouldn't she be a live target that anyone could easily kill? This Taoist thinks that placing her last is not wrong. Damn you, it's not wrong. Let me tell you, my little shimmy. Before she could finish, Lung Yuma and Luo Yu suddenly felt someone pulling them, interrupting their vehement scolding. Just as the two were about to flip out, they realized that the person pulling them was Muyin. They couldn't help but say angrily, "Little Shimmy, what kind of lousy ranking is this? It's too much." It actually said. Muyin raised her hand to her lips and made a shook gesture. She smiled and said, "This kind of ranking is just a prediction. It's not the real result. What's there to fuss about? If 4th Shiji and Xiaoqi are really angry, why don't we fight in the competition?" After saying that, he directly pulled the two of them away. But in the eyes of others, they had fled with their tails between their legs. In fact, he was so embarrassed that he couldn't even stay in the Changle Palace anymore. After a moment of silence, the crowd burst into earth-shattering laughter. "I was wondering who it was. So it's the legendary 7-man Xiao Yao team. Huh. Is there something wrong with the Starry School's brain? How could they let such a team participate? Are they here to participate in the Tri-Academy tournament or to embarrass themselves?" "I've heard that there's nothing they can do about it. The other branches have to go through layers of selections to select their elites to participate in the Tri-Academy tournament. Only the All-Cade branch has 7 people, so they naturally don't need to compete to advance to the finals. If I had to say, this is so enviable. We don't need to participate in the branch selection to participate in the 3 Academies tournament. This is an opportunity that we can't even beg for. I think the Starry School will definitely be at the bottom of the Tri-Academy tournament this time. TSK, TSK, TSK. Even I feel ashamed for them." Chapter 1535. On the other hand, the faces of the people from the Starry School were all pale. They could not wait to tear the people from the Yaoguang branch into pieces. Luckily, Master Xian Hai has a good temper. He didn't bother with those country bumpkins. I feel that Master Xian Hai's prediction is very accurate. We'll bet according to this. We definitely won't lose anything. Xian Hai flicked his horsetail whisk, still looking like an immortal. He said lightly, "Everyone, please don't say that. I welcome everyone to question my evaluation list. If I was wrong, I'm naturally willing to apologize to the Carefree team." "How could you be wrong, Master Xian Hai? That country bumpkin Carefree team will definitely be last. I'll go and bet now." Me too, me too. Luckily, I came early this year and got Master Xian Hai's ranking immediately. If others get the news, the betting odds will definitely drop, and we won't be able to earn much. Outside the Eternal Music Palace, Lung Yuma was still fuming. "Junior sister, why didn't you let me beat up that old fart? He actually said that we were last. I want to let him know what it means to lose your last dog life." Mu Yin smiled lightly, a hint of slyness in her eyes. "4th Senior, when Master Xian Hai's ranking was announced, do you think everyone will go and bet?" "Of course. With everyone betting on us to lose, won't the odds of our Carefree team winning get higher and higher?" Chu Moli added leisurely. "At that time, the scariest thing will be the odds of the individual champion. The person who was evaluated by Grandmaster Xian Hai to be in last place, after the competition ended, became the first in the overall strength evaluation of over 300 people. Guess how many crystals we can earn?" Lung Yuma and Luo Yu looked at each other with their eyes wide open. "You mean," Mu Yin tapped her index finger on her lips. "The Buddha said, don't say it. The odds now aren't high enough. We're not in a hurry. Let's wait." Lung Yuma and Luo Yu were so excited that their lips began to tremble. Yes, junior sister, you are absolutely right. So what if people say a few words? It's not like we will lose a piece of meat. Earning spar is the real deal." Luo Yu rubbed her hands together. "No, I don't think I have enough crystals on hand. I have to borrow some from Zheng Little Fatty and the others. This time, the Xiao Yao School is going to make a fortune." April 16th, one day before the start of the 3 Academies tournament. The entire school of the Emperor's Star was on high alert. Almost all of the leaders of the prestigious clans and sects in the entire Azure Blue realm were gathered here. The protective barrier of the school of the Emperor's Star was closed. Anyone who entered or exited the school had to undergo strict checks. Mayan has gathered all the crystal stones and bet them all on the Carefree team to win the championship, and June Mayan to rank first in the individual comprehensive strength list. Looking at the odds and thinking about the number of crystals they would get after the competition, they were all overjoyed. However, the other people in the Emperor's Star Palace, after knowing that they had bet all their wealth on him, all treated them like fools. On the evening of the 16th of April, the banquet of the Jasper Forest Association officially began. Huge fireworks soared into the sky, blooming in the night sky like beautiful flowers. Mayan raised her head and stared blankly at this scene, muttering in her heart, "Xiaobao, can you see the fireworks?" Chapter 1536. On Tai Square, a banquet was set up. All kinds of spiritual fruits and spiritual food were placed on the table. Tens of thousands of cultivators sat around these banquets, chatting amiably. They flowed through the crowd, but it didn't feel crowded at all. Fireworks bloomed in the sky. In the center of Tai Square, there was smooth music and dancing singers. The entire school of the Emperor's Star was brightly lit and prosperous. This was the largest banquet of the Azure Blue world, the Jasper Forest Gathering. Di Dao sat on the high seat of honor. Looking at the crowd below, thousands of thoughts flashed through his mind, especially when his eyes fell on the 7 people not far away, the 7 young men and women who came from the Yawang branch. The most dazzling girl was lightly plucking the strings of the zither. She had a lazy and calm smile on her face. Occasionally, she would toast with her companions and smile at each other. That atmosphere was truly indescribably relaxed and cozy, and it also carried the crystal clear and high-spirited nature of a youth. For some reason, a scene from a long time ago appeared in front of Di Dao's eyes. His mind was in a trance, and he unconsciously muttered, "Yawang." Yawang. Di Dao didn't notice that when he muttered Yawang, Su Yiluan, who was sitting next to him, glanced at him. His eyes were deep and treacherous, but the corners of his mouth hooked up in a faint smile. Very quickly, Di Dao suddenly came back to his senses. His facial muscles twitched. When he looked at the 7 people from the Yawang branch again, his eyes seemed to be stained with poison, cold and gloomy. The Yawang branch and the past events of the past. He would never, ever allow these things to see the light of day again. Mu Yin was drinking and chatting with her fellow disciples. She gently plucked the strings of the zither to liven up the mood. Suddenly, she felt a very uncomfortable gaze fall on her. She suddenly raised her head and met Di Dao's cold gaze. However, in just a moment, Di Dao moved his gaze away and returned to his gentle appearance as a dean. It was as if the gloominess just now was just his illusion. Mu Yin slightly raised her eyebrows, smiling faintly. Her mind unconsciously thought of the sound of the zither that she once heard at night. The Yawang branch obviously had a secret. But did this secret have something to do with this Dean Jai? "Junior sister, what's wrong?" Mu Yin shakes her head. Just as she is about to reply that it's nothing, a dazzling light suddenly flashes in the sky. Everyone in the Tai Square could not help but look up at the sky. After a strong light flashed, a huge spaceship appeared in the sky. The outer appearance of the spaceship was not eye-catching. It was just an ordinary purple color, and the body of the spaceship was inlaid with some not too dazzling gems. However, the halo around the flying ship was emitting a powerful aura that was equivalent to that of an original infant stage cultivator. Just the external defense alone was already so strong. It was enough to show that the identity of the person in the spaceship was definitely not ordinary. Seeing this spaceship, Di Dao suddenly stood up and excitedly strode forward. The people of the great clans, Feng Tian, and the principals of the Lingwu Academy were initially unable to react to the situation, but after seeing Di Dao's actions, they immediately thought of something and stepped forward to welcome him. Who had come? Why are our dark-faced dean and the people from the big families so excited? Yun Ruhan's eyes flashed as she stared at a symbol at the stern of the ship. That's someone from the Purple Cloud Realm. Chapter 1537. The spaceship descended slowly. The cabin door opened, and a group of people walked out. These people were dressed in ordinary clothes. They were either dark blue or dark purple. Their looks were so ordinary that no one would recognize them if they were thrown into a crowd. However, every time a person came out, the people present couldn't help but gasp. This was because every one of these people was at least at the Golden Core stage. There were more than 100 people, and every one of them was at the Golden Core stage. What did this mean? Moreover, looking at the clothes of these people, they were just ordinary servants or guards. There was a commotion in the Tai Square. Everyone lowered their voices and started to discuss. Who the hell is this big shot that has come? Why is there such a big lineup? Even Dean Jai came to welcome them personally. I heard that the Purple Cloud Realm will also send someone here. Could it be that they are from the Purple Cloud Realm? It can't be. Someone from the Purple Cloud Realm really came. After the Golden Core stage servants came out of the cabin, they didn't leave. Instead, they stood on both sides. Not long after, two old men with white hair and beards and a middle-aged man walked out of the building. Many people gasped when they saw the two old men and the middle-aged man. Nascent Soul Stage. These three are all nascent soul stage cultivators. However, after the three of them got off the spaceship, they still didn't leave. Instead, they waited at the door and bowed respectfully. They actually let three nascent soul stage cultivators be their servants. Who is the owner of this spaceship? I know that middle-aged man. He is the hall leader of the Flowing Moon sect, Li Zuping. Oh my god, he is also a servant. How powerful is he to be protected by the hall leader of the Flowing Moon sect? As soon as they finished speaking, the light at the door of the cabin flickered. Then, a man who was about 40 years old and dressed like a Confucian scholar appeared in front of everyone. This Confucian scholar had a handsome face and didn't emit any pressure. He looked like an ordinary person. However, the expressions of Di Dao and the others changed at the same time. Only they could tell that this middle-aged man's cultivation had definitely reached the peak of the nascent soul stage. He might even have one foot in the leaving body stage. However, this middle-aged man was alone. Even if the deans of the three academies worked together, they might not be a match for him. Di Dao immediately revealed a smile and was about to step forward. However, the scholar turned around and bowed respectfully. He said in a low voice, "11th Highness, please come out. We have arrived at the Starry School." As soon as he finished speaking, a young man about 11 or 12 years old walked out of the spaceship. The youth's appearance was extremely handsome, but his entire temperament seemed a little cold. He lowered his eyes and did not reveal any expression. Beside the young man, there were a few young girls who were as beautiful as flowers. One by one, they gently tidied up the young man's clothes and helped him down the spaceship. Their actions were gentle and teasing, but there was a hint of caution. As soon as the youngster appeared, the Gold Core servants, nascent soul servants, and Confucian scholars all bowed in unison. "Greetings, Your Highness." Di Dao's pupils constricted as he looked at the young man with a fervent gaze. He had heard that there might be royalty from the Purple Cloud Realm coming to the Jasper Forest Conclave, but he had originally thought that it would at most be a marquis or a prince. He didn't expect it to be a prince. That's right. Only the prince of the Purple Cloud World would be able to have 4 original infant stage guards by his side. Chapter 1538. Then, his gloomy face was dyed with a bit of high-spirited arrogance. He raised his hands slightly, gesturing for everyone to rise. Then, he strode towards Tai Square. Di Dao, Feng Tian, and the Lingwu College's dean immediately went up. His usually dignified face was now filled with a flattering smile. "Your Highness and the other lords have come from afar. I wonder if you would like to have a meal or rest first. Your Highness, the Starry School has already prepared your room. It's the most luxurious Qinyang Hall in the School of the Emperor's Star. I hope you like it." The 11th Prince glanced at him as if he was looking at an ant. There was no emotion in his eyes at all. Then, He walked past him without stopping. "What are you waiting for? Lead the way." Diyu Dao had never been ignored like this before. His face paled, and he could not react. But very quickly, he controlled his emotions and quickly followed. "Your Highness, this way, please." As Diyu Dao led the way, he bent his body and tried to get close to the scholar, Li Pingqing, and the others. However, people from the Purple Cloud world had always looked down on the Azure Blue world, not to mention those who were born in the royal family. Even if Diyu Dao was the dean of a college, even if he had nascent soul cultivation, in their eyes, he was nothing more than a clown jumping around to amuse them. Diyu Dao suppressed the anger in his heart and shamelessly flattered him. He finally figured it out. It turned out that the young man was the very favored 11th prince of the Purple Cloud world, Lan Huahong. The scholar beside the prince was the 11th prince's tutor and confidant, Lan Feng. As for the 3 nascent soul cultivators, they were the 11th prince's personal guards, including the Flowing Moon Sect's hall leader, Li Zuping. Diyu Dao suppressed the grievance in his heart and groveled to please these people. He knew that he had messed up the matter of the evil warding sword. If he could not find another backer or successfully refine the pill, he would definitely die a miserable death. At this moment, the 11th prince suddenly stopped, and his eyes lit up as he looked in a certain direction. Diyu Dao hurriedly stopped and said carefully, "Your Highness, do you have any orders?" The young man raised his hand and pointed in a direction. "I want this woman." Diyu Dao, Li Zuping, and the rest looked in the direction the young man was pointing, and their expressions changed slightly. Diyu Dao's expression changed because the identity of the person that the youth pointed out was too special. Li Zuping and the others sucked in a breath of cold air. This was because the young girl the young man was referring to had an appearance that was far too beautiful and otherworldly. Her beauty was enough to cause the downfall of a city. Even if Li Zuping had many outstanding beauties in the Flowing Moon sect, they were like fireflies in front of the bright moon. There was no way they could compete with each other. It was no wonder that the 11th Highness had taken a liking to this woman as soon as he walked past her. Mu Yin, who was sipping her spirit wine, slowly raises her head. She meets the youth's eyes, which seem gloomy, but in fact hide a trace of greed. She slightly raises her eyebrows. TSK, a 10-year-old boy, actually said that he wanted her? Why was this so-called Ziyun royal family so disgusting? The young girl's clear and melodious voice was like the melted snow in the spring dripping onto the dark green bamboo leaves. It was so clear and sweet that it made people yearn to taste more, leaving them with an endless aftertaste. "Oh, you want me?" Chapter 1539. I am the prince of the Lan royal family of the Ziyun world. As long as you follow me, there will be many benefits for you in the future. The people from the Xiaorao sect looked at each other. Lung Yuma spat out the fruit in her mouth and said mercilessly, "Where did this lunatic come from? Did he bring his brain with him? If he did, he wouldn't be blind and spout nonsense." The 11th prince, Lan Huahong's expression immediately turned so gloomy that it seemed as if it could drip water at any moment. The 2 white-bearded old men standing behind him immediately released their powerful auras. In an instant, the surrounding air seemed to be filled with a murderous aura, almost suffocating. Mu Yin slowly put down the cup in her hand. Her expression did not change at all, and she was still smiling. "What if I don't want to?" Lan Huahong squinted and looked down at her, his eyes full of malice. "You don't want to know what happens to you if you offend me." Diyu Dao's lips trembled, and he was conflicted. It was not that he wanted to protect Mu Yin, but because of Diming, Luo Yunxiao's attitude towards Mu Yin was too special. If he really handed her over, he would not be able to explain himself to the emperor in the future. However, thinking of the current situation, Diyu Dao gritted his teeth and said, "Mu Yin, did you hear His Highness's orders? As a student of the Starry School, it is your responsibility to represent the school to receive guests. Now, hurry up and serve His Highness back to his room." "Serve?" Lung Yuma burst out laughing. Little girl, have you grown all your hair? Is this all you've got? You want my junior sister to serve you? Do you want me to serve you with my fists? Lan Huahong's eyes widened, and a murderous aura surged out of his body. Yun Ruhan quickly stepped forward and stood in front of Lung Yuma and Mu Yin. He looked at the young man in front of him coldly. As a member of the Ziyun world's royal family, does His Highness want to bully others and do evil? Lan Huahong did not listen to him at all. He raised his hand and was about to order his subordinates to kill him. However, the hand was caught by Lan Feng in midair. Your Highness, please don't mess around. Lan Feng looked at him with an expression of disapproval. You're a prince of the Lan imperial family, and you represent the face of the imperial family. How can you act so recklessly? At the same time, Lan Feng frowned slightly as he looked at his disciple with doubt in his eyes. Back in the imperial palace, Lan Huahong's personality wasn't like this. Why was it that after coming to the Azure Blue Realm, Lan Huahong seemed to have become a completely different person? Not only did he summon several women to sleep with him every day, but his personality also became more and more arrogant and domineering. Lan Huahong's eyes flickered with malice and resentment. He wanted to get angry, but he received Li Zuping's cold gaze. He took a deep breath and fiercely shook off Lan Feng's hand. Oomph, she's just a woman. With that, he flicked his sleeves, turned around, and strode away. His actions were like a child throwing a tantrum. But the moment he turned around, his eyes overflowed with a sinister light. It was just a woman. Even if he couldn't get her now, she would fall into his hands sooner or later. Seeing this, Diyu Dao wiped the sweat off his forehead. He coldly glared at Mu Yin and promptly followed. Seeing that the people from the Ziyun world had gone far away, the crowd burst into intense discussion. Chapter 1540. Some people laughed at them for being stupid, being fancied by the prince of the purple cloud world. Yet they did not immediately stick to him. Was there something wrong with their brains? There were also people who took pleasure in their misfortune. This group of people had offended the royal family of the purple cloud world and the hall master of the flowing moon sect. Their days in the future would be very difficult. Mu Yin looked at the direction in which they left, but she could not help but knock her fingers on the table. It was the flowing moon sect again. Really, enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road. It seemed that she would not be bored at this Chonglin meeting. Danyang Mountain Range. In the dense forest, the 5 little beings were all in a sorry state. Each of them stood in a different position and stared solemnly in one direction. In the middle of them was an incomparably huge beast. Its size was several times bigger than the 5 little bean sprinters combined. At this time, the beast was letting out a shrill roar, frantically waving its thick arms. The trees that were slapped by it fell with a loud crash, and dust flew. The 5 little bean sprinters looked nervous, but they dodged one by one. Lu Honyuan, who was the oldest, jumped up the branches from time to time and stabbed the vital parts of the beast with his sword. Finally, the beast let out an unwilling roar and fell down heavily. The 5 little bean sprinters were stunned at first, but when they realized that the beast was really killed by the 5 of them, they immediately let out earth-shattering cheers. Wow, we really killed a beast, and it's a rank for beast. This is all thanks to Boss's teaching during this time. When I go back, I will tell my father that Su Su is too powerful to kill such a big monster. It turns out that Boss is really useful in our training. Boo-hoo, I thought that Boss didn't like us and deliberately made us suffer. Stupid. Of course Boss is doing it for our own good. But Boss's training is really scary. The little guys looked at the beast that they had defeated and their faces were full of pride. But when they thought of Xiaobao's training in the forest these days, they could not help but shudder. When Boss was serious, it was really scary. Every day they were trained by Boss until they cried. However, when they cried, Boss would double their training. Even the youngest Nailin, Yin, did not have the slightest preferential treatment. Even so, these little fellows were filled with reverence and gratitude toward Xiaobao. They felt that Boss was so strict with them because he wanted them to become stronger. Only by becoming stronger would he be worthy of being the Boss's lackey. Now, it was proven that Boss was doing this for their own good. In the past, they didn't even dare to approach the rank 2 spirit beasts at home, but now they could kill a rank 4 spirit beast together. They had truly become stronger. The little guys didn't dig out the inner cores of the fierce beasts. Instead, they each plucked out a fierce beast's tooth as their spoils of war. Then, they swaggered off to find Xiaobao. Nailin Yin, who was the youngest, had short legs and couldn't walk fast. Her brothers were too excited and forgot about her. Nailin Yin held the huge tooth and hurriedly staggered to catch up, but he suddenly tripped over something. The little girl immediately prostrated herself on the ground and fell flat on her face. She immediately burst into tears. Yin Yin, are you all right? Yin Yin, don't cry. Big brother will carry you. Lu Hongyuan and the others immediately rushed over to help Nailin Yin up. Chapter 1541. Yin Yin wants to give it to little brother. It's dirty. Little brother doesn't like it. Duan Zi quickly patted his chest and said, I'll give you my teeth. Yin Yin, don't cry. Nailin Yin smiled through his tears. Just then, a low moan was suddenly heard in the children's ears. The thing that just tripped Nailin Yin suddenly moved, revealing a bloody face from the grass next to him. Ah! Ghost, ah! Boss, save me! Ghost, don't bite my foot! Wah 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 wah! Several little radishes let out ghostly wails and wolf-like howls. A quarter of an hour later, the little radishes shivered and hugged each other, looking at the blood-stained youth in front of them. You really aren't a ghost? The youth was clearly in a sorry state, but his expression and bearing didn't show the slightest weakness. His expression sank when he heard that. Impudent! You dare say that Gu is a ghost? Gu? What is Gu? Is it a very fierce ghost? If you're not a ghost, why are you hiding in the grass to scare Yin Yin? No, Nyangqin said that a shadow isn't a ghost. You see, he has a shadow. Duan Zi put his hands on his hips and bluntly said, You say you're not a ghost. Then who are you? Why are you hiding in the grass to scare us? Gu is... Halfway through his words, his expression suddenly paused, and then his whole person's spirit dimmed. His murmured voice carried a trace of crying. Gu, I'm worse than a ghost now. Although the youth was young and mature, he was only a child of 11 or 12 years old. Thinking of his experience these days, as well as his bleak and hopeless future, he couldn't hold back his tears anymore, and they fell from his eyes. The little kids didn't expect that this strange brother ghost would start crying as he spoke. They couldn't help but look at each other in dismay. Ghost brother, what's wrong? Did Yin Yin trip you just now? How about Yin Yin blow you? Ghost brother, are you hungry? We have jerky that boss gave us. The youth awkwardly wiped the tears off his face. The environment in which he grew up, as well as this experience, originally he wouldn't easily trust people. However, the cute little faces and clear eyes of the children in front of him made him unknowingly let down his guard. I won't be able to see my mother ever again. I miss my mother. As she spoke, tears once again blurred her eyes. I might not be able to return home in this life. Brother Ghost, were you also caught by the bad guys and brought here? Us too. Su also misses father and mother. But we're not afraid now, because we have our boss. That's right, we're going to learn from boss, and we're also going to see boss's most amazing mother. Then, boss will bring us home. Brother Ghost, you can't find mother either? Why don't you come with us? Boss will definitely help you find your mother. Our boss is the most powerful person in the world. The young man felt touched as he listened to the children's chatter. There were many people who surrounded him to flatter him, but those people were all because of his identity. But these children in front of her were different. They didn't even know who she was, but they were so eager to comfort her. However, the young man snorted disdainfully at their most powerful boss. Chapter 1542. Suddenly, a rustling sound came from the bushes not far behind them. Before the little radishes could react, they heard a boorish and sonorous laughter. Your Highness is really too naughty. You actually ran to such a faraway place by yourself. If His Highness really got lost, how are we going to explain it when we get back? The young man, who had relaxed a little because of the comforting words of the little fellows, turned pale in an instant. Lu Hanyuan and the rest turned to look. They saw a gap in the bushes, and then a few men in black clothes walked out. These people did not emit the same cruel and violent aura as the guards of the Fushi Formation. But these little fellows had been by Xiaobao's side for a long time, and they had been influenced by what they saw and heard. Now that they saw these people, even though they could not see through their cultivation, and the person who was leading them showed a gentle and kind smile, they instinctively trembled in fear. The man who was leading the black clothes glanced at the young boy and landed on Lu Hongyuan and the rest. He smiled lightly. Oh, so His Highness has made new friends here. That's great. This way, His Highness will not be bored, and I can rest assured. The young boy's face changed. He took a big step forward and blocked Lu Hanyuan and the rest. He said loudly, "Let them go. I'll go with you." The man in black clothes' eyes flashed with excitement. He waved his hand behind him. Someone immediately stepped forward and grabbed the young boy's shoulder and pulled him to his side. Murong Hao, who was the closest, immediately rushed forward and mercilessly gathered his spiritual energy to attack. Brother Guei is our friend. Don't bully our friend. That's right. How can an adult bully a child? Shameless. The little kids bared their fangs and claws and pounced forward. However, they were no match for this group of people. Soon, they were all knocked down on the ground with bruises all over their faces. Nailin Yin, who was the youngest among them, started crying. "Little brother, save me. Someone is beating me." Sob, sob, sob. The young boy's face twisted in anger. He struggled with all his might. "Lu Kuan, you bastard. I order you to let them go immediately. Do you hear me?" Lu Kuan laughed and slowly walked forward. He grabbed the crying Nailin Yin and put his hand on her slender neck. "Yin Yin, quickly let go of Yin Yin." Lu Kuan looked at the youth with a smile, like a kind elder looking at his grandson, but there was a cruel glint in his eyes. "Your Highness, hand over the things on you, and I will let these little bastards live. How about it?" The young man's face paled, and he gritted his teeth as he shouted angrily, "Stop dreaming. I will never hand over the soul orb to you." Lu Kuan's face sank as he sneered. "Your Highness is so disobedient. You must have been led astray by those brats." "Men, chop off the hands and feet of these little bastards for me. Teach His Highness how to be an obedient child. Lu Kuan, don't you dare!" The young man roared in anger. Lu Kuan laughed heartily. "Your Highness, let's see if I dare." As he spoke, he tightened his grip on Nailin Yan's neck. Chapter 1543. The black-clad men closed in on Lu Honyuan and the rest. Only then did Lu Honyuan and the others realize what kind of danger they were facing. They were so scared that their faces turned pale. Don't come any closer." If you dare touch us, boss will not let you go. Sob, I don't want to die. I don't want Yin Yin and the rest to die. Boss, come and save us. Wah! Nailin Yin was barely breathing, and the rest of the boy's hands and feet were on the edge of a knife. The boy's eyes were red, and he kept shouting. Stop! Stop! I told you to stop. Did you hear me? Lu Kuan shook the body of the dying girl in his hand and smiled proudly. Your Highness, you must remember that your friends died because you refused to hand over the soul beads. As he spoke, he was about to break Nailin Yan's neck. I'll hand it over. I'll give you the soul orb. The boy shed tears of humiliation and despair. As long as you let them go. Lu Kuan's face was filled with joy. He flung the unconscious Nailin Yin to the side and quickly walked towards the young man. Your Highness, please hand over the soul orb. After so many days of struggle, he could finally complete the task given to him by the Hall Master. He would obtain the soul orb and then kill the boy. That would be a great achievement. He would definitely be successful in the future. The boy slowly took off his clothes and circulated the spiritual power in his body. Not long after, the faint shadow of a huge, white beast appeared behind him. The beast's appearance could not be seen clearly, but it had a pair of blood-red horns. There was a dazzling white dot on the boy's back. It was like a dazzling pearl embedded in the boy's body. Soul orb! Bai's soul orb! Lu Kuan's eyes widened when he saw the white beast and the white dot on the boy's body. His hands trembled as he took out a dark red dagger that reeked of blood. He stabbed it into the boy's shoulder. The boy let out a blood-curdling scream the moment the dagger entered his body. The pain of his flesh and bones being torn apart and the burning sensation of his blood vessels being corroded caused his entire face to contort in pain. Sweat instantly spread across his entire body. Lu Kuan turned a blind eye to the young man's pain and became more and more agitated. Bit by bit, it cut the young man's flesh, trying to dig out the shiny pearl from the young man's body. Lu Hongyuan and the others were dumbfounded by what they saw. Then, they became furious. Brother Ghost had suffered so much in order to save them. As the underlings of their boss, they were men of indomitable spirit. How could they let their friends sacrifice for them? Ah, old scoundrel, we'll kill you. Don't hurt our friends. The little bean sprays fearlessly pounced forward. Because Lu Kuan was caught off guard, Murong Hao hugged his legs and bit him on the thigh. Lu Kuan's hand paused in pain. Lu Hongyuan immediately rolled over with the boy in his arms and landed in the grass nearby. Lu Kuan stared at the kids viciously and kicked Murong Hao, who was hugging his leg. Murong Hao's face was covered in blood from the kick, and he began to cry loudly. Ouch! Sob, boss, save me. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.